Time for one of the biggest games of the year, Star Wars Rebellion, a game with a box so ridiculous it's got more plastic in it than the average porno shoot. It also costs £75. It's as if a million wallets cried out in terror. Star Wars Rebellion turns your dining room table into a galaxy far, far away and will consume your evening with a game of interstellar hide and seek. The rebel player will have hidden their base somewhere in the galaxy, and Emperor Palpatine's space tourists will have to capture it either through using traditional ground forces or through some other means. Fuck you, rebels. What we have here is a reasonably light and easy to learn wargame. You've got a nice svelte learn to play book which you can read through and teach your friend in like 10-15 minutes, and if you need to look anything up you've got a handy rules reference, and also most of the rules are actually offloaded onto the different cards that will be using to play your actions. This allows you to get into the asymmetrical action pretty much straight away. As the Imperial player, you're going to be massing huge fleets and legion of ground troops to subjugate planets across the galaxy, hunting the rebels down. You'll also be able to assign iconic villains such as Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine to special missions such as ruling with fear or developing secret super weapons. You'll be looking to suppress the rebels wherever you can, looking to engage them on your terms and crush them. Maybe even capture a rebel operative and interrogate them to try and squeeze out the location of that rebel base. But while you do have superior technology, military and numbers, what you don't have as the Empire is time. If you cannot find the rebel base after 14 turns, well, the rebels win. Playing as the Empire is an exercise of escalating desperation. If you don't get a lead early on and don't begin to tighten that net around where the rebel base may be, the galaxy just seems so vast, they could be hiding anywhere. And as the clock begins to tick, then you do start to feel desperate. But that's where the Pro deck comes in handy. At the start of the game, the Rebel player will choose one card from this deck to hide their base, and every turn, the Imperial player will draw 2 cards from this deck to help you narrow down the possibilities. And once you get an idea of where the Rebel base is, and once you can smell blood in the water and you go in for the kill, playing the Empire is so good. Let's compare that to the Rebel side, shall we, who start with a meagre fleet. Some of their ships are actually completely unarmed, and they can't subjugate planets like the Empire can. So playing as the Rebellion is absolutely terrifying. You can only broker an alliance with one planet per turn, and you just watch as this tide of space Nazis gobbles up planet after planet. Conventional warfare obviously isn't going to cut it, so you'd be relying on brokering alliances with individual systems, sabotaging Imperial production centres, or performing hit-and-run raids on lightly defended Imperial systems. You'll be constantly poking the Imperial Leviathan in the eye with a fork, all while working towards a couple of objective cards that can help bump up this Rebel support marker, decreasing the number of turns required for you to win the game. You think playing as the Empire is desperate? You want to see it from this side of the table, as your pathetic forces get ever more outnumbered and outmatched as the Imperial player just spaffs Star Destroyers all over the galaxy. Even worse is when the Death Star sits one turn away from your base, and you'll be constantly asking yourself, does the Empire know where I am? Can I hold them off or escape if they do? Playing as the Rebels is so good. The beating heart of Star Wars Rebellion is the leader system. Throughout the game, you'll recruit your favourite Star Wars characters to assign to missions and lead your troops, and these come to some fantastic moments like criminally underloved Wedge Antilles leading a strike force against an Imperial installation, Boba Fett snatching Rebel leader Mon Mothma only for Han Solo's to swoop in the Millennium Falcon to rescue her. At its best, Star Wars Rebellion is one of the most fun experiences I've had on the tabletop. I'm gonna tell you a story. After capturing and imprisoning Princess Leia, the Empire player knew that my secret hidden base was on Tatooine, and the Death Star was only 3 turns away, and there were 3 turns left on the clock. This led me into a bit of a desperate situation, shall we say. But from my objective deck, I luckily pull a card that will potentially turn the entire game on its head. I gathered what few ships I had left, and led by legendary pilot Wedge Antilles and the galaxy's last Jedi, Luke Skywalker, I moved all of my ships into the system next to the Imperial super weapon. Taking the bait, the Empire and their hubris threw their full might at my fleet. Wedge's special ability allowed me to quickly dispatch their Star Destroyers, and after the first round of combat I played my objective card, Death Star Plans, and my remaining fighters allowed me one roll of the dice. I rolled a critical hit, and just like that, the Death Star was destroyed. In the second round of combat, my remaining forces were slaughtered to the last man, but their valiant sacrifice earned me the points I needed to win the game at the end of the turn. And it felt fucking awesome. If you remember in my Twilight Imperium review, one of the major strengths I said that game had was that it draws you into its game world and makes you feel a part of the game world. And Star Wars Rebellion does that brilliantly. You will feel like you're the leader of a ragtag rebel alliance, and you will feel like you're the leader of an uber space empire trying to stamp out the last remnants of resistance. And every hand of action cards you get dealt gives you an array of interesting decisions to make. You'll agonize over the pros and cons of the actions that you're about to take, and those actions will provide you with lots of memorable moments that you'll want to discuss with your opponent at the end of the game. At its best, Star Wars Rebellion is incredible. But sadly, Rebellion is far from perfect, and its biggest problem is combat. While the combat system is fine for small-scale skirmishes, it just becomes a chore for large-scale battles, and you want these huge battles to be epic, especially if you're the Empire, because that is one of your major strengths. Your military might and technical superiority, is one of your major strengths. But as the Empire, I didn't want to fight because the combat's shit.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Assigning hits, rolling dice, drawing cards, the fact that ground and space battles take place simultaneously just bogs things down and takes away from the brinksmanship, the bluffing and the intrigue of the overall game, which are Star Wars Rebellion's strengths.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Playing as the Rebels lets you play as your favourite childhood heroes like Han Solo or Chewbacca or Lando Calrissian, the smoothest man in the galaxy. But playing as the Empire, you get Palpatine, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, and then like loads of extras. I'm a card-carrying Star Wars nerd, and I don't know who some of these jokers are.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
And into this, your favourite characters only really have one or two cool things to do that are unique to them anyway. And for the most part, that's stuff that just happens in the films anyway.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
And because of that, once you've played this game through, once on either side, you've seen pretty much everything the game has to offer, which for a 75 quid game is a bit shit.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Oh, and it says on the box that it's a 3 to 4 player game, but that's bollocks. The rules that are implemented for a 3 or 4 player game are just ridiculous. You buy Star Wars Rebellion as a 2-player game or not at all.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Star Wars Rebellion, if you look at it on its own, without the fan service, the movie magic and the setting, it's a reasonably light war game that's simple to teach and provides you with plenty of interesting decisions to make over a 3 to 4 hour game. That's good. But every single facet of Star Wars Rebellion is done better in other games. If you want asymmetrical gameplay, then Fury of Dracula is the yardstick to measure other games by. If you want a space epic, Twilight Imperium does it better and with more players. If you want a Star Wars adventure, you've got Imperial Assault. If you want an interesting, exciting space fight, you've got X-Wing and Star Wars Armada. But if you want to experience the movie magic of Star Wars firsthand, lead rebel raids across the galaxy or blow up Naboo with the Death Star, let's face it, who doesn't want to do that, then I can't help but recommend Star Wars Rebellion. If you love Star Wars, then you should probably buy it. You'll really, really enjoy yourself, at least for 2 evenings. And it's expensive, but when it's good, it's really, really good. And let's face it, no Star Wars junkie can resist fan service of this magnitude. Look at the dinky Death Star! Dinky Death Star's so cute and adorable. If you've enjoyed this video, please do click on that share button. Don't let Dice Hard be your little secret. If you would like to support my channel and help to make advertisement-free YouTube content viable, a link to my Patreon account is on screen now, as are links to my previous video and to BigRedBarrel.com for those of you who like games, comics, movies, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.